Welcome back to PA's Surgical Robotics Industry Parallels series. Today we're turning our attention to the automotive industry and particularly how it manages its cost base and supply chain. To offer a window into that world, I'm joined today by Barinder, our lead engineer for the value engineering function here at PA. Barinder, welcome.
Yeah, great to be here today. Thank you.
So Barinder, the automotive industry has been around for over 100 years. By contrast, in surgical robotics, there's only one company that's got anything like a scale or track record at the moment. What does that rich history give the automotive industry that we can learn from?
Well, automotive, if we're talking about cost and managing cost, I would say, without being biased, coming from automotive as well, I think it's probably the most mature sector in terms of how it manages its costs, how it introduces new products and gets the cost target absolutely spot on. I think some of the sort of learnings that I've seen other sectors take on, and it may be something for the surgical robot sector, is it's really how it defines its target cost at the beginning. So if you're developing a new product, a new surgical robot, they absolutely need to understand what they're going into the market with from a cost perspective. The automotive sector goes through a new product development process which is clearly defined. At each gateway, they must hit the cost targets. So it's not just a sort of a performance functional question. Has it met its cost target? And unless it's met that cost target, it doesn't go beyond that.
That's really fascinating. And I guess you have the price point data from previous iterations, which perhaps we don't see in surgical robotics.
Correct. Yeah, there is a level of maturity there. Absolutely. So they understand the cost base for each of the vehicle systems already. And those are cascaded down to a component level.
Yeah, so I suppose for the medical device industry, not only are we in a much more new sector, but also we don't typically have the volumes that automotive does. What sort of strategies we may be able to employ and take from automotive directly that could be useful to help put pressure on pricing from suppliers?
That's a really good question. So I totally recognise that the sector is different to automotive, but I think there's still some parallels there, and they can still learn from automotive, and that's predominantly around, looking at the sort of longer term picture. What I'm experiencing is that they're very focused on the performance side, and the cost as an attribute is just forgotten about until the product's launched, and actually then they try and address it. But the problem with that is, and particularly in the medtech space, is that they've already done all the testing and approvals, and it's very hard then to make changes, so that cost is baked in. One of the ways that the automotive sector do that is really encourage a competitive supply chain solution. So maybe dual sourcing some of your critical solutions, critical components. This allows not only to get optimized price back, but also it adds a bit of resilience in your supply chain as well, so that you've got alternative solutions.
I love that. And so what you're saying is essentially there's an opportunity there from a cost perspective without having to worry about changing the product or the component or the material, just by intelligent sourcing across potentially competitive multiple setups.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's really interesting. So clearly one aspect is to put pressure on your supply chain and look at multiple sources. I guess when you're a startup trying to hit their next investor milestone, the focus is relentlessly on getting that MVP product to market. But as you say, they need to be looking to the future and potentially to what that product looks like in the long term to be viable. So what are the other sort of levers that the automotive industry can use there to look at how those components evolve maybe?
Delivering against the cost target is one thing that the automotive do, but during the sort of product life, they have ambition to reduce the cost of that product year on year to keep it competitive. And there's essentially a number of sort of levers and areas that they use. The first one is ensuring that you've always got value for money on things that you're buying. So always negotiating with suppliers, always making sure that the cost that you're paying is indicative of what you're buying. So would they do that through what we call should cost modeling, and that's definitely a skill that this sector can use. The second thing is, are you actually buying from the right place? So not just the right supplier, but the location. There's so many opportunities you can exploit just by making sure that the product that you're buying or the technologies of those products are being made and sourced in the right location. And the third is really ensuring that you are keeping up with technological changes of those products and components, ensuring that you're using the latest materials, latest manufacturing processes. So there's a sort of a technical redesign opportunity for things as well as you go through that product life cycle.
That's a really interesting point as well. So I think we recognise that in the medical devices world, it's hard to change things once you've got your regulatory approvals. But I guess what you're saying is there's an opportunity during development to think ahead and maybe plan for those changes in the future, maybe test multiple materials or fabrication processes.
Yeah, correct. I think that's always an argument used here, but I would say yes, you can always address changes that maybe don't affect the functionality and performance, in which case it doesn't trigger any regulatory retesting. And the second thing is, if there's something more fundamental that does require that, then there's a business case and it can be sort of walked through.
So Barinder, thank you so much. That's been really insightful, and I think there's a lot we can take from that directly and start using within the surgical robotics sector. So appreciate your time today. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Thank you.